Good morning, everyone. Welcome back. Hope everybody had a good Monday. Once again, a big thank you to our staff, to our administrators, our principals, some of our district help that helped deliver meals. The Grab Go meals were a big hit yesterday. We had more numbers served than we ever have, and we hope to do the same thing on Thursday. Just keep ramping those up. Spread the word to families that those vehicles will be around coming to the district. You can pick them up at those sites, or we will be out delivering them. Just as we have the last few days, I'd like to welcome Becky Eckhart and have her give us an update on the public health scene.
Good morning, everybody. We don't have a lot of new information today, so I guess that's good news. For the state of Nebraska, they are up to 57 confirmed cases throughout the state of Nebraska, so a slight increase over yesterday. And we are at 0 confirmed cases in Dakota County. It is up to the discretion of the individual providers, but some providers continue to test. Others are asking folks, depending on the symptoms, to self-isolate. But based on the number of tests that they are doing currently in Dakota County, there are 0 confirmed cases. Again, that social distancing is working and doing good hand washing and sanitizing. So keep up the great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Becky. Wanted to make sure everybody stays with us for a few minutes, because after our presentation today, we're going to take a little tour around the district office here and introduce you to some of the people that have been working so hard. Like I said before, in many workplaces around our local area, and then also, here in the district, and then also around the nation, people have been working from home, and for good cause, to flatten that curve. But we have several individuals here at the district office that actually their hours at work have probably increased, including us. And so I'd like to just introduce those people to you this morning. So if you hang with us, towards the end, we're going to do a little virtual tour of our office, introduce you to some of those fine people. At this time, one of the people that's been working really hard, putting in a tremendous amount of hours, is our director of curriculum, Dr. Tracy Heilman. And she's been leading our administrators and some of our ICs, developing a continuum of learning plan for our district. Yesterday, we had a meeting with other state leaders. It was recommended that everyone develop one of these plans. Well, we've been working on that for since the inception of the coronavirus pandemic, and knowing that we're going to need to change the way we do education. And we hear your voices. It's the students that have been chatting in and sending messages to us. Overwhelmingly, I'm very proud of your need for continued learning and how you're voicing that. It's good to hear. Sometimes in education, we hear exactly the opposite. That you want a day off of school. Well, we've had some days off of school, so now it's getting to the point where students, parents are wanting those resources and that continued education. And who better to deliver that? I know there's all kinds of vendors out there. Who better to deliver that than our own teachers? And so that's what we're developing. Today, you're going to hear for the first time just some of the skeleton of what that plan looks like. We'll be moving forward, working with our administrators and teachers the rest of this week so that we can roll this thing out. But students, hang with us. Make sure that you pay attention to all your communications. Keep checking that, because I know your teachers are reaching out to you, and I applaud them for making those contacts with our students. But we do have a plan, and Tracy will share that with you right now. So welcome, Tracy Heilman.
Morning, everyone. What I'll share with you right now is just kind of an overview of a fairly detailed outline that we have right now. As Todd said, I started working on this right away when we knew we were going to have at least a 2-week closure and have added some things to that in collaboration with different cabinet members and seeking some input from some of our building administrators. So I'll try to give you a quick overview and not take a long time with this, but I do want to give you just the basics. We will continue to do the paper packets that we've offered for grades pre-K through 6 for the time being. We're working on adding some other options for other grade levels on a prioritized basis. We started with working on high school first. We know we have seniors who really want to graduate on time, and we want that for them. And we have other high school students in other grades who want to continue with their plan for their education going into next fall. We want that for you as well. So we are definitely pulling together as a team, and we're going to do everything we can to meet the needs of as many students as we possibly can. We are doing this in a prioritized order, however, so some of the paper packets or downloadable materials that we put in place will remain in place for the time being, at least through March 30th for secondary students. And then we hope to go live with some online learning formats for high school students, and we'll phase that in to middle school. Following that, we're working on that just as quickly as we can. One of the things that we're working through right now for 6th grade is those students need a device. We're working really closely, and I say we, meaning mostly our tech department, is working overtime. Drew and his team are doing a phenomenal job, as they always do. We need to figure out the logistics of that. And for those of you who have been involved with getting computers out to students for our high school one-to-one know some of the things that are involved with that. We're putting that all in place right now. I can't mention any details necessarily, but we have some community partners who have really been amazing and stepped up to try to help us out with that. Things like internet access, those types of things. It's really been very, very good to see. So tentative schedule for implementation of some distance learning options. We hope to go full on into that with high school beginning next week. Mrs. Odell and I have been working very closely, and Mr. Akins, Mr. Clausen and I have had some meetings, and we're working with the PLCs at the high school. We'll be seeking some feedback from them this morning at a staff meeting at 9:30. So we'll answer some questions that they have at that time, so that they can feel as prepared as possible for that when we're ready to go. We know that there are some other things that you're all dealing with at home. For example, we're not having school, so many of you have students at home. If you're a teacher, some of our students are caring for siblings at home. So we're trying to be very mindful of some of those types of limitations as we work through what our offerings could be and how that can work as well as possible for both students and staff. I think right now we have to just realize that we need to let go of a lot of our expectations, but we're also trying to maintain those things that are top priority and do the very best we can to support as many as we can. Let's see, we also have some students who are currently working through our online learning format that we have typically used. That's called Apex. Those will continue. We may expand some of that as well. We will also continue to offer things like win time. We'll do that virtually. We're working on a schedule for that in cooperation and collaboration with our teachers at the high school at this time. We'll work on expanding that downward in terms of grade levels as we can manage it. Let's see. Again, this is all a continuity of learning during school closure plan that we also waited a little bit of time until yesterday. The Nebraska Department of Education shared a little bit more guidance with us yesterday. And so that was very helpful. I think everything we have in our plan that we had developed will work, but we wanted to wait just a little bit before we shared that out too much, just in the event that NDE would tell us something that was going to conflict. Let's see. We will use Google Classroom. We will use Zoom meetings. We will use all of those types of communication tools that our teachers have been familiar with, that our students have been familiar with. The guiding principle for me has been don't add anything new that we don't have to add, because each one of those new things represents some type of a hurdle for students or teachers to learn something new, to figure out access to something new. So we're trying to keep things as continuous and consistent with what we have done as possible. For that reason, we're also asking teachers to continue to focus on content and instructional materials that we have already had in place, even if those things need to be adapted in some way. We will also offer some options for supplemental content, and some of those things have already been shared, but we have to keep that to a bare minimum, and we have to make sure that we aren't adding some type of barrier for students or teachers with that. Let's see, as far as there are lots of other details that we will work on to share out with students as far as their expectations. We will make this as much school as possible for it, to the extent that students are, for example, high school receiving credit, they need to do the work in order to receive that credit. So we will all have to adapt to some degree, but we will do that together, and we will offer as many options right now and during the summer and during the fall as we possibly can. We know that students want to keep on moving through with their plans and expectations as much on schedule as possible, and that is what all of us want for them. So we're going to do everything we can to make that happen. I know you'll have questions as you hear more details on this from your building principals and things like that, and we want you to ask all the questions that you have. We'll do our very best to answer them. And we also know that all of these things are a little bit of a sacrifice for everyone. So this is a partnership deal, and we're asking for your partnership in this. We want your feedback and input, but please know that we're doing the best we can, and we need partnership and teamwork from everyone to make it work. So thank you. More details to come as we can manage to put some of these things in place. Anything else right now?
Thank you,
All right.
Tracy.
Thank you.
Very good. All right, thanks everyone. As Tracy said, we're gonna try to communicate more. I think she had said possibly there'll be some written communication to our staff, and then we'll follow up with parents and so on. Maybe as early as later today, but I know some of us have Zoom staff meetings set up. I know the high school has one here at 9:30. We plan to do something for staff, just so you're aware. We'll announce it later in the week, maybe Thursday or Friday. Do kind of like we do with our opening event, but we'll invite everybody on Zoom to give some updates district-wide regarding that, just for staff only. So expect that to be coming. Just appreciate everyone's work on this continuum of learning plan. Like Tracy said, we not only have to plan for the delivery right now, currently, how we are going to continue to give kids education, and teachers are going to continue to teach, but what that's going to look like when we return. Where is everybody going to be on their standards? How are we going to assess that? How are we going to place kids in the next grade level? How are we going to have them make sure that they're ready for the next class if it's a continuum of content classes, and so on. So all kinds of challenges. The biggest thing, the positive coming out of that is it's forcing us to get into a blended learning approach that we maybe should have been in a little earlier. And there's all kinds of creativity from our teachers. Just very proud of everyone and what we're developing and thinking of. Along that lines, we continue to get questions about graduation. I'm telling you, kids, we are going to try to do our best, and parents and families, to be creative about that situation. We just brainstormed. Lance had some great ideas with that this morning at our cabinet meeting. So hang on.
Somebody sent it to me. I can't take credit.
Okay, yeah. Well, continue to hang on to the hope. We are also going to continue. I visited with our board members yesterday by text. They're in agreement that we continue with the 10-day increments, just looking at a school 10 days by 10 days. And so we'll continue to do that. Well, do you have some questions, Lance?
Yeah, I think we've answered this before, but I
Okay.
think it's worth doing again. Will spring sports still be played this year?
We have not received any more information from Nebraska School Activities Association. I think we can expect, at least spring sports to be off until Easter. We'll see what they have to say. It just depends on, how quickly the curve moves through our region, our area. Like you heard from the report from Becky, right now we're optimistic. We have 0 cases and confirmed cases in Dakota County, so that's great. We'd like to take, like we promised, we'd like to take you on a little virtual tour of our office, introduce you to some of the great people that have, been on duty since this started, and many of us working through the weekend. So they've been doing some great things. They've been working really hard, but also I think you'll be impressed with some of the other stuff that they're doing. So bear with us just a little bbit. We're going to go on a little Mr. Rogers-like tour here, I guess. Okay. All right. Well, first up, we have Vicki Johnson. She's one of our secretaries. She works closely with our director of curriculum and instruction, Tracy Heilman. Vicki, would you just want to tell people a little bit about what you do as far as in your position?
I get all the NASCAS ready for testing, which we're not doing this year, but I had all those test sessions set up for you, but that's okay. It was good practice. And I do all the ordering for the curriculum, all your textbooks for next year, and I've already started that with the elementary math, because that will be our last year for that, and canceling some of the professional development things that have already been reserved. So,
and you've had to be as flexible as anybody, so we'll continue to move forward.
Just move forward.
Well, thank you, Vicki. One of Vicki's hobbies is Vicki likes to quilt, and she's very talented with the sewing machine. And so, like some of the people around the nation, she has joined forces with other people that have her same skills across the nation, and she started sewing some masks for our healthcare providers. She'd like to show you one of those today, but
so here's
might have to get a little closer.
That I did. I kind of made up my own pattern because we wanted it to be tight around the nose and a pocket to put a filter in there. And these will not keep you from getting the virus, but they will help you not spread germs. It's basically because it's not tight around your face. But there's a bunch of us making a lot of these and sending them to hospitals, nursing homes, whoever wants them, we're getting them to the right people.
So those of you that know how to run a sewing machine, that's not me. If you want to get in contact with Vicki, you can get her email right off her website, and she might be able to share that pattern with you if you have some time at home and want to join her in sewing those. I know we got requests just locally, just again yesterday. We need these in our metro area for our healthcare providers. Supplies are low, so something you can do to help out if you have a little spare time. Thank you, Vicki.
Yep.
All right. Usually at this desk is Zyra. We might run into her later. She's our receptionist, does a wonderful job when you come through the front door. All right, around this corner we have Kristen. Hi, Kristen. Good morning.
Hi.
Would you want to tell the folks a little bit about your job, and thank you for being on duty and getting after it the last few days?
Yeah, I help Jill. She's our HR director, so I'm just helping her keep up with some of the paperwork side of things. So maybe if you have any questions about stuff with insurance or your continuing ed credits and stuff, maybe direct those to me first right now at this time, just because I know that Jill's super busy, so I can help take some of that off of her plate and not fill her mailbox so much with stuff. So
Sure. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for all your work, especially during this time. I know all of us, including you, have some family responsibilities at home too. So you're juggling that with kids at home and work, and so it's a different world for all of us here recently. So
It is.
thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome.
All right, around the corner we have Renee.
Good morning.
Good morning, Renee. Would you just like to just tell us a little bit about your job and what you?
I juggle the payroll and
Yes.
time and attendance, working on some timesheets. So if you've got some hidden timesheets in your desk, go ahead and get them turned in because cutoff will be here before you know it.
Yeah,
So
very good.
getting ready for the April payroll.
One of Renee's hobbies, if you know, Renee is a green thumb, and she has quite a collection over here.
Purifying our air.
Yeah, we have everything. We have. She supplies us sometimes with lunch. Well, not so much me, but the people that like to eat healthy.
The white bowls.
Yeah, she's growing some lunch items down here for us. So
Little microgreens and some
Yeah.
spinach. And the rest is just to filter so we have clean air here.
yes, that helps, especially during this time. Clean air is essential.
That's right.
Well, thank you very much. Well, also in our office is Nellie. If you would like to just say a few words about Nellie, well, what your job responsibilities are. Thank you for being with us.
Do accounts payable, so usually when you guys get invoices or POs, you send them over to me.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you so much for being here and all your work. And we'll move mosey on back and see if we can catch Zyra. She might have bailed out on us when she saw the camera coming. Oh, she's gone. Well, all right. Well, Zyra is usually right here at this desk, but is there any we're getting towards the end of our broadcast this morning. I'll take some questions if any questions popped up, Lance.
None on the document here. And I don't see any talks.
Okay.
And nope, I
know some of you have some Zoom meetings coming up, so continue to post those questions on our website. Like I said, you can expect a continuum of learning plan coming out shortly, hopefully maybe today. And what do you think about this afternoon, Lance? Should we just go with a morning tomorrow, or do you want to do an afternoon broadcast also?
it's up to you. I'm fine with.
Okay. Well,
If
let's
something
Let's plan for an afternoon broadcast. So if you want to join me back here at 4:00, Lance will send out a link. We'll continue to be consistent there. I don't expect a lot of new news today, but something may pop up. It may be a short one. So everybody have a great day.
Somebody mentioned Becky
question.
Ferris, and we're not leaving her out. She's not here.
Yeah. Becky's at home today. So, but yes, Becky also is a vital part of our office. So very good. So she supports Becky Eckhart. But thank you for joining us on our little tour. That was kind of fun. All right, everybody have a great day. Thanks for doing what you do.